A 67-year-old man sits in a room he is about to lose. He has less than $100 in his pocket, and he is exactly 5 months behind on the mortgage for the home where he raised 7 children. For decades, he built businesses and welded oil field rigs to support 14 dependents. But in a single calendar year, 5 separate projects, 5 distinct financial lifelines, all collapsed. While most people in that situation would be paralyzed by the pressure, he did something unexpected. He sat down to finish a project he had been researching for 13 years, an investigation into whether the biblical timeline functions as a precision mathematical system. He spent the hardest year of his life documenting a timeline of salvation history, even as his own personal history seemed to be reaching a dead end. The situation changed with a knock on the door. It was his next-door neighbor. The neighbor had a $2 million tax liability. The author happened to be one of the few experts who knew the specific regulatory mechanisms required to solve a problem of that magnitude. Within the week, the neighbor funded a $15,000 upfront contract. The financial vacuum was filled instantly. A $15,000 rescue is a stroke of luck, but when you analyze the specific data points of the family that delivered that rescue, the probability shifts from lucky to mathematically impossible. To understand the odds, we have to look at the neighbor's background. His family is Japanese. They are agnostic. They have no framework for the Bible and no connection to the Christian tradition. In the United States, the neighbor goes by the name George. It is a name synonymous with the legendary soldier saint. That name traces back to a Roman soldier in the guard of Emperor Diocletian, seen here, who was martyred for his faith and became a symbol of a protector who arrives in a moment of crisis. That George is just a chosen American name. The neighbor's legal Japanese birth name is Yasuhisa. Look at the spelling. The first 4 letters, Yes-U-S-U, spell Yesu. That is the Japanese rendering of Yeshua, or in English, Jesus. An agnostic Japanese man, born with a name that translates to the Christian Savior, arrived at the door of a man researching the mathematical timeline of Jesus at the exact moment he needed to be saved. That's one person. Now look at his wife. Her name is Mariko, but in the US, she goes by Mary. The Japanese kanji for the name Mariko means truth. The author's work is centered on the biblical claim, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Their daughter goes by the name Karen. Karen is a Scandinavian form of Catherine, which comes from the Greek word for pure. We have 3 family members with 0 biblical knowledge whose names map directly to the themes of truth and purity found in the author's mathematical research. Those were names chosen by parents, but the pattern extends to variables that the family couldn't control, like the AI assistant built into the neighbor's car. The AI is named Ara. In various languages, that name translates to the age, the era, or the light. The author's newly finished book is titled God's Guide to the Galaxy, and it focuses specifically on the closing of the current age. On one particular afternoon, the author was riding in that car with George and Karen. They were pulling up to a stop behind another vehicle. The license plate directly in front of them read 222. 15 years prior, 222 was the specific numerical marker that convinced the author to begin this entire research journey. A random DMV assignment removes human choice from the story. It shifts the sequence of events away from coincidence and toward a rigid, interlocking design. Here is the final ledger. 14 documented, verifiable facts converging on one man at his lowest point. A coincidence is something you notice after the fact and try to fit into a pattern. These are 14 independent, pre-existing facts that arrived in a locked sequence. The rescue funded the completion of the research. The author is now so mathematically